good? Okay. I got the variant.
Welcome to another episode of Into the West I choked there. Oh, man,
It's okay. It's okay. You got
It's
it.
my first time. I'm gonna try it again. Okay, let's do it one more time.
Dang it, milkshake!
It's choked. It's fine. It happens. Welcome to another episode of Into the West Comics. My name's Austin. We got Marcus here.
Hey.
Yay!
And we got Paul crying over there.
It wasn't even Austin so much as it was everybody else.
And we got Frank.
Hey, what's up, man?
And hey. So I'm in. Oh, and we got Shane back there.
Hey,
Oh my!
Hey
thanks
Shane,
a lot.
love
Milk.
you. So
Love you too.
Sunny, I'm taking over for Sunny this week. We're doing Comic Book Day Cop or Drop. We're going to go through all the different comics, and then Shane will decide Cop or Drop. You ready, Shane?
I'm ready.
All right, Marcus?
The judge's corner back there.
Yes.
You better wow me. Get going.
All right, Marcus.
Alrighty.
Shane, what books did you bring? Oh no.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
You're not doing yourself any favors, Paul. I'm telling you right now.
All right. So my first one for this week is a new number one from the Dawn of DC legacy that has started, and it is Amazon's Attack.
Ooh.
Very good, very good. So for those who don't know, this is
So far, so good.
yeah, this is a this is a continuation of the Trial of Amazon's series that was started back some ways ago that introduced Queen Nubia, who took over for Hippolyta after Hippolyta was passed away,
Like that.
and she became queen of Themyscira.
We're all struggling tonight.
Woo! Oh, that was a tough one.
What's her name?
Between worlds,
Marcus, what's her name?
Queen Nubia.
Queen Nubia. I
Yeah,
like
Nubia.
That. I like
Yeah.
that. Go ahead.
Her
Go
black sister. Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So she's now the
That's her
the
sister.
queen. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
she's firmly
Go ahead. Her sister.
sister.
That's funny.
So she's now firmly she's been coronated, and it's official. She is the queen of Themyscira, and she's right away she's dealing with a number of issues. Among them is what is actually being set up in Tom King's run of Wonder Woman at the moment.
Real good.
And I actually read number 1 and 2, and they are interrelated. And
Did you hear that they're gonna re-release 1 and 2 as one issue?
oh no,
Mm.
they've
As,
done it before.
It's gonna be called like the Outlaw
That's
or
going to be
something
cool.
like that.
Oh, cool. Nice.
That's really cool. So if you guys, because it has been selling out, and they tend to do that when a lot of the first prints sell out, and everyone wants to jump on, and they can't find access to it. So they do that. They've done that with Jeff Johns' more recent titles as well. So that's really cool. So, but yes, so it is. It's definitely this Amazon's Attack is a story that is set up basically interweaved along with what's going on with Tom King in his Wonder Woman run, where you have in Montana there was a massacre at a pool hall, and it's being blamed on a Themyscirian.
Yes.
And so, in almost realistic form, there's a knee-jerk cancel culture reaction. All of a sudden, Themyscirians are banned.
Yeah.
Their residencies and citizenships and all kinds of passports are being revoked. They're being deported back to Themyscira, and in this perspective, you see it from Queen Nubia's perspective, and you see how it all kind of comes. It's coming from her end, where she's at Themyscira. She's just finished dealing with her issues.
Yara Floor.
Yeah, and then you have Wonder Girl down here, and part of what will explain more what's going on with Wonder Woman is actually in this issue, where she's actually she gets a vision, she gets a premonition of what's going to happen to Themyscira, and that's why she runs to warn Queen Nubia while what's going on in Wonder Woman 1 and 2 is occurring. So it's actually very, very good. So in Wonder Woman 1 and 2, you have Wonder Woman centric, what's going on with her as she's trying to find out what the mystery is of who's painting a target on all of Themyscirians.
Right.
Why on this one, this is just showing the wider picture, the more completer
It
picture.
sounds like the way they used to do Batman Detective. Batman was Batman's story, and the detective was sometimes Batman, but a lot of the times just his supporting cast.
Right. So You don't need to read this one to understand what's going on in Wonder Woman or vice versa, but I think the story will slap harder if you do.
Tom
read
King
both.
wrote Amazon Attack?
No, this is Campbell.
Okay.
Yeah, Campbell, and then a couple of artists that I haven't heard of.
Okay.
But yeah, very good. It'll give you some finer details on what's going on in Wonder Woman from a
Wonder Woman's been great.
Yeah,
Wonder Woman's dope.
It's a great like kind of it fills you in on some of the wider details.
Shane booed me last week when I talked about Wonder
As soon as
Woman.
he starts to break
No,
down.
I did not.
Yeah, and Ryan defended you, Paul, and he said, Shane, don't boo Wonder Woman. Don't drop it. Cop
Yeah.
it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I take it back.
Tighten up, baby.
All
I
right.
know.
And then
Even though
my second one is Captain America.
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America #2, JMS. Excuse me. JMS is back on. It's
I'm
just-
sorry.
it's-
It's
it's-
one of those
I
things.
I
it's just
started
one
it.
of
I
those
started
things.
it.
Austin's contagious.
Yeah.
Happens.
Yeah, JMS is back. Writing for Marvel. He's setting up a really killer story with Captain America right now. AIM is back into play. You got some supernatural stuff happening. You got some scientific stuff happening, and you get some backstory. You get to see a little bit of how Captain America grew up in his old neighborhood as a teenager, and you find that's actually part of the plot where there's a plot to go back in time and try to basically eliminate Captain America before he even becomes Captain America as a younger person. And the story kind of goes back in flashback to when he was a teenager, and it was right as World War II was not quite there yet. Weren't there yet, but Hitler was rising to power. The Nazi Party was rising to power, and you had Nazi parties here in America, sympathizers and whatnot, who were also trying to, gain favor and, and partnership. And so you see, them clashing within the neighborhoods of New York, go back where you came from with all that hate and all that kind of stuff.
Hate.
And they're like harassing, Jews in the neighborhood and all that kind of stuff. So you see that, and you also see an early Baron Zemo,
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Nice.
that's
So
cool.
he's kind of interweaved in the story too. So it's actually setting up to be a pretty killer story. So I'm excited for
Nice.
the subsequent issues of that.
Liking that.
Nice.
All right, cool.
We got one more. Or
Oh,
is that one?
well, this is just an honorable
Oh, okay.
mention. Captain America and Wolverine
Nice.
together, side by side, fighting. They've been friends all along. We just didn't know about it until this story.
Hey,
Because
that's where they
Wolverine,
became-
Wolverine is
Really?
like over 100 years old, and so is Captain America. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't they have met?
A real meet
back in the
cute.
day?
I guess that's good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
fun issue, fun plot point. But yeah, those were the main two. I just wanted to bring
Very
this
cool.
just for an honorable mention.
Paul, what do you got?
Mentioned honorably. Well, Frank and I were talking before the show, and I'm sure Marcus's may have been similar. It was a pretty light week as far as polls.
The least amount of books I
Frank
picked
only
up.
had like 8 books. I had
Wow, that's very,
know.
it's very low for me.
I had
That
one
is.
book, which
Yes.
I'm usually around like
Low
10.
for you.
Well, for me,
You have
was low for
how
you?
many? What's your lows for you? Said
I had one book.
that's a flex right
I,
there.
I wish I could go and just get one book.
I mean, but
Right.
for you to only have 8, like that's just, it was a light week.
Yeah.
So last week at the, around the 1 year anniversary for Maximum Northwest, I saw this on the shelf. Paperback for Superman
Ooh.
for All Seasons by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, with Bjarne Hansen as the colorist. And I have been looking for this trade for a really long time. I'm sure I probably could have found it on Amazon, but I was talking to the guys before the show. I try not to do that because otherwise I'll just buy every single trade that's ever existed. So I'm like, I either find it in a store and get it, or I don't get it. And finally, I think this was a printing from, this is a very recent printing because it has a tribute to when Tim Sale passed away less than a year ago. And this was one of the few quintessential Superman stories that I had never read. And I read it earlier today, and it's everything everyone always says it is. It's not about Superman being like, he doesn't fight anybody in the comic. There's no punching. There's no like crazy action sequences. It's about a boy who grows up in Kansas, who's unsure about his future, and you see him become the idealistic individual that he is. There's a part in this that I feel like Zack Snyder read and went, "Oh, that would be cool if I used this to kill his dad." And I was like, literally reading it made me hate that part in Man of Steel even more. Because there's a tornado that goes through the town.
Spoiler.
Yeah, right.
Spoiler.
There's a tornado that goes through the town. I'm not talking about the movie. The movie,
Right.
But there's a tornado that goes through Smallville. Superman saves a guy, and he's like, the town is destroyed, and he's like, oh man, I probably could have stopped this. There's not like a major death or anything going on in it. His dad lives through the comic. But he's like talking to the priest at the local church, and he's like, what if someone could have stopped this? And the priest is like, well, we do what we can do. No one could have stopped this, Clark. And he's like, yeah, but what if someone could? And you kind of see the burgeoning like Superman idealisticness where he's like, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure everybody survives. And it just makes him a wholesome, you love him. Lana Lang and Lois Lane are really big parts in this comic. The first spring is narrated by Pa Kent. Summer is narrated by Lois Lane. Fall is narrated by Lex Luthor. And then winter is narrated by Lana Lang. And it kind of gives an outside look into what his childhood was and who he was and how he became the Man of Steel and the person that everyone loves. Yeah. And you see Lex Luthor and why he starts to hate him. And this doesn't do it where Luthor also grew up in Smallville. And I kind of prefer it that way. I kind of like that he's just really jealous of Clark and what he does and what he's capable of, that he's got to find a way to make Clark second guess himself. And it works for a little while. But the art in this is fantastic. Tim Sale uses primary colors so well in this, and Superman looks fast. The blending of the colors when he's flying, and it's everything you would think a Superman comic is. It's like when someone tells you about Superman,
right?
They're talking about this book.
And not only that, but if anyone who picks it up and reads it, each individual person can get something different from it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You can extract some sort of either, sort of gleaming of wisdom of, whether it's, about his budding sense of purpose that he starts to grow within him, like his duty to protect and in his inner nobility. It's just,
and also kind of to your point, there's a really touching part in it that's kind of not about Superman. It's about Lana Lang. There's a part where Superman, when they graduate high school, takes her up and flies her around and reveals his powers to her. And that part is kind of narrated by Pa Kent. And it's like, oh, that was so cute. I wish they could be together. But he ends up with Lois. And then later when Lana talks about her experience with that, she said, it's when I realized I couldn't be with him. And it's just really, really good. And it kind of makes you see why everything falls into the place that it does. And it's kind of emotional. Like I'm tearing up a little bit thinking about it. It's
not
really,
allergies,
really
people.
good. No, it's really good.
He's not making fun of me.
You want to truly?
All right, Frank. Last ones.
I've got a couple number ones.
Okay.
One that was a digital release not too long ago. It is called Canary. Scott Snyder and Dan Panosian on the inks.
Oh,
there.
Boom.
If
Revolvers.
it's set in it's got an old west setting.
Nice.
It is a little spooky. It would have been perfect for Halloween. We just celebrated a couple days back. It would have been perfect for Halloween. It's a little spooky. What is it about these Batman writers that want to go and write like horror stuff like after the fact? Definitely spooky vibes. I don't know if they included like the first 2 chapters of his story because it was released on Comixology as a digital release, and then this is the one that they're going to be doing in print. So I'm not sure how many issues it was. Or how many chapters it was when it was a digital release. I think it's like 6, Marcus. I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong if you know. But Scott Snyder has a great way of storytelling. He does a great job with his storytelling. And this is a really cool story. It gives you a lot of creepy vibes to it, as far as a haunted mine in this settlers town set in the Old West. Panosian does a great job. As far as his artwork, it plays really well it complements really well Snyder's writing, and I really enjoyed it. I really didn't know what to expect going in, as did I with Spider-Boy #1.
Nice.
Dan Slott. I knew zero about Spider-Boy and Dan Slott's take on this. He was introduced in one of the Spider-Verse comics recently, like in the last few months. The character's name is Bailey. He thinks that he is Spider-Man's sidekick, basically. But unlike Spider-Man being bit by a radioactive spider and having the powers and abilities of a spider, Bailey, the more he uses the powers, the more he gives off the appearance of a spider with mandibles, extra eyes growing. So there is a sequence that goes, it takes place before this comic, but they go see the Fantastic Four and they give him a costume so he can kind of hide his face and give him more like of a cute look and not something so spooky with claws scaring kids, because he is a kid himself. But it was a really cool story. There's a character, and I don't know if it's geared more towards like a younger audience. The villain in the comic at the beginning of the story, Shane, is called Gutterball. They're in a bowling alley, and they're fighting. They're fighting this guy in the bowling alley. It's pretty funny, and then they make all these puns on bowling, which is pretty great. I can, as a dad, I appreciate the bad jokes.
Frank, you like puns?
Oh, you didn't pick up on that?
I know. I've known him for 10 years. I never would have guessed that.
First time.
First time.
But it's really cool storytelling. There's a lot more to unfold. There's experiments where the character Bailey Spider-Boy may have come from. That they might be introducing more characters that are hybrids or experiments of some other kids that are being experimented on, that are being fused with animals, and he has to fight one of his friends at the end of the first issue. So it's a really cool story. Good starting on point. You know, we try to give some people some options as far as number ones and jumping on points, because, you know, sometimes people feel overwhelmed. It's like, you know, you pick up a Detective Comics 1080 and you're like, oh,
I gotta read 1,000
books here. Detective Comics actually just started, Ron V just started a new storyline, the Batman Outlaw storyline.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm a little confused because I feel like the other storyline never ended.
Oh,
well, the Gotham Nocturne.
Yeah,
over there.
I'm like, okay.
That was going for a while too, wasn't it?
I was enjoying it until the point where I was like, well, what is?
I don't know if you like the fact
anyway.
that they didn't include it with the Batman Catwoman, the Gotham War. I'm glad they didn't include that in there.
I also think
that wrapped up this week.
They changed, like there was a different artist on that book every single week.
Kind of feels
it was like
that.
Ivan Haish, and then it was Albuquerque, and then it was a bunch of big
Hawthorne
names.
or something like that.
And it was something with the F this past, or not this issue, but the issue before this. And I'm sure it's someone different this week.
Maybe.
Which all of them were good artists, but it lends to feeling like a very.
I think Jimenez is doing covers for Detective now.
And what's it called? I wish I could remember the guy who was on that, but his art is very different from Ivan Haish's, and it was picking up the story from where that one picked up, and it felt like completely different stories because the artist was different, and that's the risk you run with that. So I was really high on that run at first, and now I'm kind of like, it's still good, but it's a little all over the place.
Shane, we gave you lots of options. I hope you go and pick up lots of comics.
I'm telling you.
Are you going to cop all of them? They're pretty. I thought they're all really good today.
When it came to Wonder Woman, for me, that sounded great. For Frank, Spider-Boy sounded absolutely awesome.
What about Paul?
The winner was Paul. Wow. Devin a Cop.
You're the winner.
Yeah, was Superman.
Paul's the winner this week. Paul is the winner.
Awesome. Without a doubt. When he said he teared up, that was my favorite part.
When Paul cried.
When Paul cried.
My favorite thing ever is when Paul cries.
Some Superman stories will get you.
They're great.
There's some. There's like 3 that I know.
Yeah, this one is just so wholesome. Like there's a part where a kid's like on his balcony on like a tower, and he goes to get this ball, and he's like about to fall, and Superman catches him. And he's like, hey, nice costume. And Superman's like, yeah, my mom made it for me. And it's just like,
that's cool.
It's just really wholesome.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the Captain America because that's my guy. You know, that's my guy.
Yeah.
So Captain America is always my guy. So another successful
Fantastic.
Was it successful? I kind of choked at the beginning, but it was fine.
No, you did great. You recovered. Marcus choked too. He couldn't.
The mascara.
Right. That's what it
mascara.
was. Oh, that's what he was saying.
Yes, the
Quarterback with
mascara.
an interception. You just got to forget it.
You just got to forget it.
Yeah. Out there.
Just forget it.
But yeah, if you guys have any comic book questions, these guys are amazing. DM them on Instagram if you have any comic book questions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So Paul, what do you have for the people?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a lot of fun. If you have any questions about comics or anything and watch this, hit me up. Or even if you read comics, just want to talk about it, that would be really cool. And
how do you get them on the interwebs?
you get us on the interwebs at @into_comics on Instagram. Whoa, I messed up.
What did he say?
_comics on Twitter, Into the West Comics on Instagram and TikTok.
I'm making everyone uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What's
and,
happening?
Sonny's not here, so you can find Shane's feet finder.
Hey,
Hey, all right.
Marcus.
Don't mind if you do.
Shane, you got anything for the people?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
Thank you, Marcus, for this X-Men shirt. Love
Yeah,
you,
it's a nice
Marcus.
shirt.
Love you,
You're welcome,
Marcus.
Marcus, you got anything for the peeps?
Hey, there's a lot of great titles out there, almost too many to choose from. So just take your time, try to narrow them down, ask around, see what you like, and go forth and conquer. And,
A lot of good number ones recently.
Yeah, a lot of really good new things are coming. So get out there, ask a lot of questions, and
Read
happy
comics. Come
reading.
on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Frank?
Happy reading.
Final word?
No, I was just gonna say to check out the logo, the Cerberus and Company, Cerberus and Co. You check out my buddies Tavon and his homie. They gave me I'll post the picture of the back.
Nice.
It's a spooky looking apple thing.
Cool.
I'll turn around and stand on the
Turn
table.
around and stand up.
But I'm good. Go read comics. This is the first week
Yep.
that I picked up, like less than 10 books. I almost read everything.
Wow.
Paul would be proud of me. I almost read all of my books this week.
Turn around, Frank. Let's
Turn
see it.
around.
Real fast, Frank. Turn around.
Let's see it.
Come on. Quit messing
Do it.
around, Frank.
You better work.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's
Do
terrifying.
your thing. Down the
That's terrifying.
runway.
I like the jacket. It's looking nice.
All right, Austin, get us out of here so we can go get pizza.
Yes.
We're
Again,
getting pizza. Okay.
see you guys. This video will drop. A lot of other videos coming out this
You
weekend.
better work.
So we'll see you guys next week. Pizza time, right?
Pizza time.
Pizza time in America.
Pizza time in America.
Cowabunga, baby.
Let's do it.
See you guys.
Love you.
Good night, guys. Thank you.